Good morning, everyone. All right. A lot of people jumping in now. It is Friday. As I was getting ready for this, I'm looking at my crazy hair today. As I was getting ready for today's webinar over the last 15, 20 minutes of just kind of prayer and just quiet time and making sure my notes are in the right place and just making sure that, what I talk about is organized, right? I was thinking about how grateful I am. I was looking at some of the comments coming in, and you guys know who you are. If you've been doing this with me almost every single Friday, or at least for the last several Fridays, if you're a regular, I want to make sure that before we kick off today's webinar, that I tell you how truly, how honored I am that you spend your Friday mornings listening to me and learning with me and going through this stuff. Like, you guys could do a lot of things on Friday mornings besides come join a webinar, right? You can watch the replay later, right? But you guys show up live, and I don't want to take that for granted. I absolutely am thrilled that I'm able to kind of share what I'm learning and what I'm doing on a daily basis, what my team is learning and implementing, that you guys are coming and being like, yeah, show me, right? Let's do this. Let's grow. And we've been working with some really amazing tools lately. And over the next several weeks, I'm going to be kind of going into individual tools. But I think what we're setting ourselves up for, and over the summer, the cadence is going to stay the same on Fridays. But there's, we're probably going to do a little bit more of like the recap. And I may even do a couple of Fridays where instead of doing it on StreamYard, we just do like a Google Meet so that we can have a more interactive discussion. And I really want to show some of those systems like we did last week, where we talked about, like, we use this tool, then this tool, then this tool, then this tool, and it makes up a framework to create all the content you could ever want. It was a really fun webinar. But if I don't do that, if I don't go into each individual tool and really show you like specifically why and how they can be used, then sometimes those concepts of like, then you go here and you go here, they get lost. Right. So I want you guys to know kind of those little bit of a deeper level of each of the tools that we're using, especially when it comes to the big ones, the big chat tools. Maybe just some things that you didn't know were possible, or maybe you're on a free version and you're like, oh my gosh, I can do that on the paid version. Right now, I don't have any affiliate link to give you for Claude, which we're going to talk about today. So there's no financial gain for me. I mean, just Anthropic, if you spent money and got a Claude account with them. But there are some really advanced features that you can get for $20, $20 a month. And so we're not going to talk about those advanced features today. I want to keep it on the free level, but I might mention, like, if you get the pro level, you can do this. Right, just so you guys are aware. So with that being said, my name is Jay Vix. I'm seeing some people in here: Meg, Amy, Sarah, Laura, David. All right, it's good to see you guys. And Amy, thank you. This makes my heart happy. And again, like I mentioned, it's you guys showing up live every Friday morning makes my heart really, really happy. So let's get started with Claude. All right. I made a post on Facebook this morning. Hey, John Bennett. I made a post on Facebook this morning that said, who is Claude and why is he awesome? Right. I want to say that a lot of people I meet, I've been saying this, you guys may have started your AI journey with a tool. Now, you might have started before ChatGPT became all the rage, but most people started with ChatGPT. That's fine. That's good. ChatGPT is fine. I mean, they're growing. They just put out an image editor that is awesome. Like, ChatGPT is not a slouch. They're one of the biggest in the world, so I can never knock them. I have shown you guys some examples of where ChatGPT really buffooned an answer. But all of them are guilty, can be guilty of buffooning an answer. And I quickly, after I played with ChatGPT for a while and I saw all the hallucinations it gave me, all of a sudden, all my smart AI friends were talking about this other tool called Claude. And I was like, Claude, that sounds like a person. That doesn't sound like a name of a software. And so I started playing around with Claude. And what I realized quickly was that the writing that Claude was able to produce, the content, was, in my opinion, far superior to ChatGPT. I just thought I was able to get it to sound a little bit more like me and my company. And then I realized that the memory that it had in it was incredible. So we're going to talk about several things, like different settings and different ways that you can make Claude really good for you, but not for you. If you guys work with clients, right? Like you manage client accounts of some kind. Maybe you're a bookkeeper and you manage your clients' finances. Maybe you're a marketer and you manage the marketing. Maybe you're a writer and you do, content marketing in terms of, or content writing in terms of case studies and SOPs and blogs or emails, right? If you're a landscaper or a home service professional, right? You have clients that maybe you have on a regular basis, or you have this target audience and you need these you need to manage them on a frequent basis. Now, if you just do a lot of one-offs, like you work with this person one time, you don't work with them again, you probably don't need to do some of the setup that we're going to do today. I might show you a different way to set that up. But before we dive into the real meat of this, you're going to hear me use the words brain a lot when you hear me talk. We're either going to be talking about our company brain, and then we're going to talk about the client's brain, right? Now, if you guys know little bits about brains, I'm no neuroscientist. As a matter of fact, just the fact that I just threw that word out there impresses me right now. I'm actually laughing on the inside. But brains are an electrical system, and there's wiring that takes place so that it can send signals all over your body. Beyond that, I don't know a lot about the brain. And I know there's like a left brain and a right brain, and we're not talking about that today. But I do mention brains often. And from the little that I know about brains, I want to say that you guys have heard me and saw webinars the last several weeks, every week. And I'm going to start this webinar in a tool that isn't Claude. You guys know that I always love to go to another tool by Google called Notebook LM. It is my most versatile tool overall. And I use Claude, Notebook LM and Claude together nearly every day. I use Claude probably a little bit more because there's more things that I'm writing in there, but Notebook LM is really where we keep our internal brain, right? We call it the brain in a box, right? So Notebook LM is where we keep all of our company information, all of our internal information, all of our company information goes into Notebook LM. And then we can take that information and feed it into a Claude project. But what we're talking about with clients, I would just use Claude. I wouldn't use Notebook LM for your client's documentation because you don't have access to it. So in Notebook LM, if you guys have been following along, you can't share those notebooks externally. So if you're building your own business brain, you don't want to build a client's brain in Claude because you can't give it to your client. So we use Notebook LM. We use Claude for that. Sorry, you don't use Notebook LM for, I don't know if I said that right. You don't use Notebook LM for all your client information. You use it for your own company information, your own internal information. And then you can take that and use Claude to help you write extra stuff. So what we do is we use Notebook LM, and then for our marketing, we'll take what we have in Notebook LM, and then oftentimes we'll feed it into Claude. But Claude knows a lot about our company as well. But what we use Claude for is to take what we do and match it up with what our client is doing, right? Now I'm going to show you guys that. I'm going to start in Notebook LM real quick before we go into Claude so you guys understand the whole concept of what I'm talking about. And that tab is right here. Oh man, I love these comments, by the way. I just flipped back over to the StreamYard room, and I'm seeing some of the comments from Meg and Avanice and Sarah, and you guys, oh my gosh, you guys are so awesome. So awesome. By the way, RC just posted today's resource PDF. It's kind of a getting started with Claude. If you guys want to follow along, I always love to do that. By the way, right above my finger, as I use hand gestures as I talk, right above my finger here, this QR code is for a 30-day free trial to our AI-powered operating system called JourneyBuilder. This tool has helped people like Amy build an incredible website. It's helped our friends over at Jed Signs. I don't know if Jennifer is on the call today or not, but it's helped our friend Jennifer build out an amazing commission calculator for her team, like an actual app that ties in with JourneyBuilder. And they do it themselves. They don't need a developer. We just look at it and say, that's awesome, right? So, there's Jennifer. She just chimed in. Hey, Jennifer, glad you're here. Yeah, so, and by the way, Jennifer, check your account this morning. There might be a quote builder draft. There may or may not. A little birdie might have made one about an hour and a half ago for you. Quote builder right inside your JourneyBuilder account. But if anybody wants to try it for 30 days, that's the QR code. There's my pitch for the day. Let's move on to all the fun stuff. All right. Let's go here. Share this screen. We're going to go over to Notebook. All right. Now, here's what we do. So let's say my company is a company called Ocean Supply Company. And in my internal documentations, we set up 6 siloed notebooks. And we have a HR Cortex, human resources. We have leadership. We have marketing. We have sales. We have operations. And the only one I'm missing here, because for demos it doesn't make a lot of sense, is research. I could do a research one. But what I would do to use Claude to help this company out with writing and content and strategy is we've loaded up several source documents into each notebook. This is the human resources cortex, the human resources brain in a box. And if you guys have been on past webinars, you know that we like to do this in Notebook LM. We build our company brain. What I like to do from here is synthesize all these sources into a report. And then I take the report. So the way I do that is I come in here and I create my own report and I put in a prompt. Oops, sorry, that was not it. Where is my prompt? I lost my prompt. Hold on, I'll get it. Right here. Create a complete and thorough detailed overview of every key point in this workbook. It should encompass the key points of every source so we can build it, I should say, into a Claude project about this client. If you guys want this, let me copy it. And I'll put it in here for all of you. Okay. And so that prompt will take everything from, oh, sorry, RC, I know you're yelling at me right now. There, I fixed it. That will take all the data that's in this notebook. It'll build a report, which will ultimately look like this on the right. Takes everything from all of these sources, and it just basically synthesizes it and turns it into a big document that covers everything. Okay, so this is everything about human resources. Okay, and we do that with all of our notebooks. Right, the reason we silo these, and this isn't a workshop on Notebook LM, I would encourage you to go back to our specific Notebook LM training. You can find that at jtheAIguy.com and just go to the replay archives that are on the website. It's under Learn. But we build these notebooks and keep them siloed. And then you can take that, and now we're going to show you Claude. Let me go into Claude. All right. Once I get into Claude, and we put them into a project. All right. Now let me talk about projects. Let me show you. I'm gonna back up and show you a little bit of Claude. Now I assume that by now some of you have had like that 101 level. Like maybe you've played with it, maybe you've tried it. If you've never played with it, good. You're joining us at the right place at the right time. I'm going to go through some just a quick brief walkthrough, and then I'm going to show you how we use those documents from Notebook in Claude so that we can build things. All right. And so when you come into Claude, let me go out of projects and just go to when you come into Claude, there's usually some type of greeting for you if you have an account. Good morning to you, Claude. And this is going to look a little bit like ChatGPT. You can chat with the AI and it will pull things from around the web. And oftentimes it will slightly hallucinate. And oftentimes it will give you the bias and tell you, yes, you're incredibly handsome and good looking. If you ask it, say, hey, I think I'm a pretty good looking guy. What do you think? It'll say, absolutely. Right. So there is some bias. Is this a good idea? Yeah, I think it's a good idea. And it could have been a really bad idea. Right. So you have to be careful. But one of the things I want to show you that a lot of people overlook when they first come into Claude is the settings. If you guys are using Claude, you've been using it for a little while and you haven't come into the settings, I encourage you to do so, because the settings you adjust in your Claude account makes a world of difference in the way Claude interacts with you. Okay. And under the general settings, what should Claude call you? Right? Jay, what describes your work? And you can talk about it. And I put other, but you can talk about, marketing and finance, human resources, whatever your topic is. I kind of go other because I don't really want to make every answer sound like that. But if you're just going to use Claude to work with projects, with clients, I might pick what you do. Like I might put finance if I was a bookkeeper. I might put operations if I was just, a COO or somebody who's just involved in that responsibility. All right. For me, I'm an entrepreneur that has a very small team, so I wear a lot of hats, right? And so, I don't want to just pick one and have Claude answer that way. But this right here, instructions for Claude, this is very important. Very, very important setup. And what you want to do is you want to say, hey, Claude, when I'm speaking, I want you to just keep in mind these things. Okay. No matter what project I'm in, no matter what chat I'm in, no matter what tasks I'm trying to do, right? And this will change from time to time. Okay. As business evolves, you want to come in here, I would say every month or so, and maybe adjust this a little bit, right? Just to keep up with what you're doing, right? If you didn't know how I got here, you click on your initials in the lower left corner. And then when you do that, settings is at the top there. And then it brings you right here. So I talk about JourneyBuilder. That's our product, right? That's what we sell. We sell JourneyBuilder. It's a AI powered operating system. Okay. And so AI all-in-one marketing automation platform for small businesses, combines multiple tools into one intuitive system. Here are the features, selling propositions, target audiences, marketing strategies, sales approach. Here, then I go into Jay the AI guy. Who am I? Right? Weekly webinars on AI implementation. Okay. Google Notebook LM expert. How do I like to talk? If you guys have heard me over these webinars, you know that I end almost every sentence with the word right. And some suggested hashtags, social links. Okay. Here are my colors, my brand colors. When discussing JourneyBuilder in the future, refer to this guide for key points and marketing strategies. Remember to adapt the right. So this is very important. Fill this out. Fill this out with anything that is evergreen. It's not going to change very often, right? Like Claude should know this about what the output is giving. A lot of times when I'm working on client things, it will say, oh, after that you implement this, or here's how you implement that client strategy inside of JourneyBuilder, right? So there it is, right? And so that is a really important setting that I overlooked the first time I came into Claude. I didn't quite get that. And then about 2-3 months using it, I realized, why does it keep talking about JourneyBuilder in a lot of these conversations? And then somebody was showing me what they put into their instructions, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. So then I started, going to it, and I review it about every 30 days ish. Right? And looking at this now, I'm like, I think I got a few things I want to add here. Appearance, you can do, light mode, you could do dark mode, you could do system mode, chat font, whatever font you want to use. Now, I'm surprised I have this as serif, because I don't like serif fonts. I'm changing that right now. We're going to sans. The voice, I'm not too sure about, but
Betty.
Oh, look at that.
Amid the mists and coldest frosts.
It's how it will talk back to you. And then there's just some other settings here, but this instructions for Claude is the big one. Account is going to be some other things. I don't want to go through all these, but there are some others in the capabilities. You can actually have it search and reference your previous chats from memory so that it can pull relevant details in your new chats. Very important. Generate memory from chat history. Allow Claude to remember relevant context from your chats. This is really good when you're working with projects. Okay, so a lot of times then you won't have to repeat yourself, right? This is a big one. If you guys are using ChatGPT and you start using Claude and you're like, whoa, this is amazing, I can't believe how much better it is than ChatGPT. You can actually import all of your ChatGPT. A lot of people are like, I don't want to switch to Claude. Everything I have is in ChatGPT. We can now import that memory right in from ChatGPT. Very cool. I haven't done it because I don't use ChatGPT enough, but I might do it at some point, import what I did use in the past, because I know my Jay the AI guy cartoon character, I created him in ChatGPT because Claude doesn't do images. They don't build images like ChatGPT will. One important distinction there. I use Gemini for my images, so but I wasn't using Gemini when I created it. That's the one thing about these tools changing up all the time, but these are kind of staples of mine. There are tools that you can import, like you can connect Claude to your Google Drive, Docs, things like that. That Claude just released on a pro account, Claude for Small Business. So the other night I connected it to my QuickBooks Online account. Not that it can write things or delete things or steal information. It's just a connection that can pull reports into Claude. So I can ask, hey, how did we do last month? What am I spending my money on? Why did I have a net loss last month, right? How much money did I make last month? Right? That's the better question. I like when that one is in the black, right? All right, connectors. There's also connectors that are like Google Drive and other connectors that you can use, and we're going to show you some of those in a little bit. Artifacts. These are great. We're going to go through these in a little bit. AI-powered artifacts. These are basically documents that Claude creates for you. PowerPoints, documents, PDFs, markdown files, slideshows, right? I don't think anything else. And then they have Claude and Chrome. And Claude's really getting known for all their skills. So some connectors, that moved to customize as well. So let me go there. Claude Code is something we use to do programming. And this is the Claude Chrome app. And I only give it a few places that I can actually allow Claude to use in my browser. But that's stuff that we're not really talking about today. So let's keep going. If we go out of settings, and we come back to our search, there are things that we can give it to start, right? So we can add files to our chat. We can take screenshots, and then we have our projects. If you use, I'm not going to talk about it today, but GitHub is a place that stores code for projects, more for coding. You can add a project there. You have skills that are built in, and you have your connectors. Now, Gamma, we've talked about Gamma. That's the one that you can connect with Claude. You can actually send all your information from Claude into Gamma to build a presentation. You'll see I just put QuickBooks in here. So there's different connectors that you can build in, and those allow you to interface with those tools. Okay. Then you've got research, which is going to search connectors and documents. So I don't use that too often when I'm researching. But one of the things that I sometimes will do is a web search, like say, hey, you're allowed to search the web to get this information, or not. You have to use just what's in the project. All right. Let me come back and check comments and questions at this point. I haven't really gotten too deep. There you go. Okay, here we go. All right, good. Am I using Claude Desktop? I am using Claude Desktop. Let me talk a little bit about Claude Desktop for a quick second. So, like anything else, there's a desktop version, a version of Claude that you can download to your computer. They have one for Mac, they have them for Windows. And it gives you the ability to use chat, code, which is coding to build things, and co-work. And you have to be on the paid plan, I believe, to use co-work. I don't know about chat. I mean, code. You might need to be on the paid plan. I have to double check. It's probably in that resource guide. I'm just not remembering off the top of my head. You might be able to use code on the free. I think you can use code on the free version. You're just very limited. You'll hit your daily limits very quick. It's a very low limit. You'll hit thresholds. And then Avanice says, woo, that was my real fear. So much in ChatGPT. Yes. If you start using Claude and you love it, definitely pull your stuff over from ChatGPT. Can we connect to Canva? I believe there is a Canva connector. I'm going to go to add connector here. And I do believe there is a Canva connector. Yes, right here. It's the number 4th most popular connector. So you can search, create, autofill, and export your Canva designs right from within Claude. By the way, we also have a JourneyBuilder. It's not really a connector. I mean, it is. It's called an MCP, where we can actually manage our CRM from a Claude conversation. So I can get information on my contacts that are in my CRM, and I can add a tag or create a message to go to them. I've actually sent emails from Claude that go through JourneyBuilder. So very cool. But you got some Google Drive, Gmail, Google Calendar, manage your schedule, coordinate meetings effortlessly, Microsoft 365, Slack, Zoom, let's see, Monday, Twilio, Asana if you're using Asana for tasks, Shopify if you're e-commerce. There's a lot of different connections. Intercom for help and support. Adobe if you're using Adobe Pro Tools, which I do have Adobe. I might connect that one. We don't use it as much, but it'd be worth trying it out. Airtable, Zapier, right? So lots. Here's Gamma. So tons. I mean, you could search through all these. These are things you can connect right into Claude, and they all do very specific things to that program. All right. So Amy, yes, I would connect it to Canva. I don't use Canva, but everybody else in the world does. I have a free program that's out by Vistaprint that was called Crello, and then Vistaprint bought them, so it's called Vista Create, and it's like the next best thing to Canva. It's not as good as Canva. I promise you it's not as good as Canva, but it works for what we do. It can do almost as much cool stuff. It just doesn't have as much AI-powered features as Canva's been putting in to their platform. And then there are some plugins that you can do that can help you with certain aspects of a business, right? And you can just download them and use them. And so these are a lot of things that you can connect to do your chats. The next thing I would show you is the models. We've talked about this briefly in some past workshops. David says connectors are super helpful. Yeah, he created an MCP to help me write better prompts when I ask Claude to do something. Right. So MCP is a way to connect other programs that might not have a built-in connector. I think it's a model context protocol, I think is what the MCP stands for. I'm not going to get into it today because I don't think I could explain it properly, but just think of it as like there's not a built-in connector, but you can actually connect these tools together if they have a server, a special server, which is basically a link and a key that you can give it, and you can tie these programs together. And that's how we tied it with JourneyBuilder. It was actually a special MCP server, but again, next level, if you're interested in connecting to a platform that you're working with, we could always look it up and see if they have an MCP server and maybe help you with that connection. But I can't really go deep into that today because I don't feel like I'm the most qualified MCP person, and I don't know that you guys care that much. Just know that I keep telling Jennifer, who's on this call with Jed Signs and Company, the answer is really not no anymore. When it's like, can we build this? I'm like, yeah, it can be built with AI. Like there's really no has become a very rare word in my professional life. Now, of course, I have a 10-year-old, so it's a very common word in my personal life. But anyway, back to the models. So every once in a while, these platforms, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, they release new models, and they're always in a race with one another, right? Our new model now beats the other model, and then next week it's like, yep, we just topped you again, and this is like the AI arms race. Claude is up to their 4.7 models, and there's several different models. You can also turn on very complex tasks. You can have things like several documents built at once, and the difference in the models is that they each have limits. If you're on the free plan and you're using Opus, right, which is kind of their big, like, really codes, it builds everything out by code, right? You're probably, if you're on the free plan, you're just going to hit your limit for the day, and Claude's going to stop and say, hey, you can't use Claude anymore today, right? You've maxed out your daily limit. Where if you were using Sonnet or even Haiku, you might not get the ambitious work you were trying to get. You'll still get really great outputs, and you can still do a lot of things, but you'll be able to use the tool a lot faster. Once you're on the paid plan, if you're just doing general everyday work, even if it is slightly ambitious, like coding a PDF or a Google Doc or something like that, you can probably get through several documents on a day-to-day basis just using Opus. It's when you get really involved that you'll hit those limits. And really involved would be like you're trying to develop an app or code an app or build out websites every day, which you could just use the JourneyBuilder AI tool now and build those websites, which is fun. But anyway, for today, I'm going to start with Sonnet 4.6. Okay. Now, let's talk about projects. And let me make sure I'm on track with my notes here. Yes, I am. Okay. So think of a project like a folder, right? Like a long-term folder. It holds the context and the files and the instructions that you need for something. So maybe that's client work, right? I do have folders for certain clients, okay? And we put certain things related to that client in those folders, okay? So for example, I created one for our ocean supply company, which is the company I showed you when I started in Notebook LM. And you'll see that I have 2 documents in here right now, and I'm going to add a few more. So I want to show you how easy it is to what you can add. But the files that you put in to a project are like permanent memory. So every time you chat, it's going to use information from those files to get you the answers, to generate new content, right? It's using that as like its memory, right? It's in its brain. And you can add a ton of files. You see I have 2 here and I'm at 1% of project capacity. So a couple hundred files, most likely, you could put in here. You likely won't have that many. Also, you can add instructions to tailor Claude's responses. And you can give it stuff that, like, I always want it to talk like this. I always want it to do these things. So if it's something that you need specific relevant instructions within this project, you can do that. Now, on the free plan, I think you can only use files. It's either, yeah, I think it's just files. Maybe, no, you might be able to use instructions. Let me see. 5. It's been a while since I was on the free plan. Conversation maybe is pro. Let's see. Yeah. I have it. Let's see. It's the global stuff. I had a thing in there. I mean, you should be able to put in just the normal stuff you're gonna need. All right. I just lost my spot. Let me get back. Where am I? Scrolling. Okay. All right, here we go. So one thing you might want to do, free plan limits you to 5 projects total. That was what I was looking at, the limit there. Now, what I'm doing is I'm taking this knowledge so that Claude will read it in every chat in the project. So what I've been doing is I'll hit the plus sign over here to add a file, and you can upload files from your device. Here's the Google Drive connectors, right? So it'll go to your Google Drive and find the most recent things, and you can just put that resource right into the project. You can also add text content. So you can copy and paste content in. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to flip back over to Notebook LM for a second, because I think this one was HR knowledge base for Ocean Supply. This one I think was leadership. Right? So I did HR and leadership. So I'm going to go over to Notebook LM. I'm not going to share my screen over there real quick. I'm just going to go grab the marketing report. Copy. And I'm going to upload, add text content here. And I'm going to say Ocean Supply corporate marketing, and I'll just say marketing. Right? And I'm going to paste in my content from Notebook LM from that report when I gave you that prompt earlier today. All right. And then I'm going to go grab the next one, which you guys, I know you're not seeing this. I just don't want to keep flipping where I'm sharing. So I'll grab the sales one, and let me grab that report. And then I'm going to add that file here, add text content, and we'll just say OSC because it knows what we are now, Ocean Supply Company, sales, paste that in. So any report that you have in your Notebook LM for your company, I'm kind of doing both. I'm using it as the company brain and then the client brain. In this case, I'm going to pretend I'm working with Ocean Supply, and maybe we help them set up their notebook internally. And now we want to help them as a marketing client of ours or a AI consultant client of ours, right? So now we need the information from their internal notebooks to come into Claude so that we can do the work we need to do. Right. That's kind of how this is going. I'm going to put one more in here. And we're going to get operations. And I'm going to add text content. And I'll say OSC operational intelligence and strategy. All right. All right. So now you'll see I have five sources here, text sources, right? And you see that I'm still at 1% of my project capacity. So, I mean, I'm not anywhere near maxed out, nor will I ever get maxed out in this project, most likely, right? Especially not from some smaller text files, but you can add a ton of information. I could take all my sources from Notebook LM and pull them into here. But there's reasons why I keep those different. Notebook LM, I think, should be internal. And then you just take the key points and bring them over so that you're giving Claude your reference points. All right. So now I'm going to say, give me 3 bullet points about how we have saved our clients money, time, and resources. I'm going to say not save, how we save, not how we save, not how we have saved, how we save. All right, so this is just a general chat. And it's going to use those references. And very quickly, it tells us specifically how we've done that. Okay. Now, all right, cool. You could upload those into ChatGPT and do that, or Gemini and do something similar. That's fine. Here's what I'm going to do next, though. I might start a new chat. We need to generate a 90-day outbound sales and marketing campaign. Act as a chief marketing officer and present me with a proposal of a 90-day marketing and sales game plan with our existing resources. Strategy, right? Talking strategy here. I need to know, how do we move this thing forward? Right? What do we do next? Give me ideas. You can always edit it. The reason I'm doing this in a new chat is because when you create a chat, it's kind of like a subfolder. Everything in that chat is using what it knows from that chat. And if it needs to go deeper, it'll use from the project, right? So I break a lot of chats. I'm going to show you specifically how we do this for these webinars in just a minute. So let's do that. And it'll generate this 90-day sales and marketing campaign plan. Also, while it's doing that, I'm gonna hop out of here for a second. You'll see that it says 90-day sales and marketing game plan. If you ever want to rename a chat, you can do that in here. You can also remove a chat from the project, delete the chat completely. You can change where the chat was to a different project, and you can keep some of your best chats that you're going to reference often. You can star them. You can do the same with projects and keep them kind of at the top of your list. Okay. Let me go back into that chat. It's still working. And while that's running, I'm going to come over here and get some questions. All right. Do we find it better to have one big file or multiple files? Now, David, if you're talking about like taking all of those company docs and putting them into one, I don't think that's a very good idea. Now, I'm going to tell you why I don't think it's a very good idea. And I use this reference often because it's the one that makes sense to the most people. All right. And what I would say is that the word termination, okay, Think of the word termination. Now, to a person in human resources, termination will typically mean what? And I know I'm not really asking for an answer because you guys can't talk to me right now. Termination is usually like getting rid of a human being that works there in some capacity. Employee, contractor, terminated, fired, termination, right? But what about to the operations or legal team? What does termination mean there? How do we terminate this contract? When does this contract terminate? Is there a termination clause? Right? So it means something different. And so what you don't want to do is you don't want to give your documents the ability, and this is why I like the separate notebooks, and this is why I like using this for Notebook LM. You don't want it to maybe crisscross what it's talking about. Now, Claude is more likely to mix those up. You know, if we were talking about termination of something and we wanted to make it be more of an HR related termination, like the proper way to offload an employee versus how do we end this contract, or what is the termination clause for this contract, I would specifically want it to just reference certain files. So I like multiple files. I don't like throwing everything together in one big bucket. And the reason I like it better in Notebook LM, where Claude can actually hallucinate on those things, is in Notebook LM, it'll give you citations of what document it pulled the information from. That's the source grounding part of it, where Claude is kind of going to take it all together and try to identify, but it will still use the documents it has as kind of separate documents to pull its information. It's not trying to throw it all together in a hodgepodge of items. Hope that helps. All right, Laura. Okay, is this where you record a meeting to have it convert to notes to link to Gmail and send to a client? No. So, well, there's a lot of ways you can use that in here. There are tools. I know Google now has the meeting note taker in Gemini if you're on Google Workspace, but there's tools like Otter and Fathom. You see all these AI note takers in your Google Meets and Zooms these days. Those tools will record the meeting, turn it into notes and tasks, and then it can send those tasks out. So we don't even have to use that in Claude. But what you could do, if you just had something like Zoom's recording tool or Google Meet's recording tool, you could record the meeting. You don't even need, as a matter of fact, I'm actually likely getting rid of my Fathom note taker soon after about a year of using it, because I use Google Gemini and it will record and transcribe and give me follow-ups to every Google Meet that I do. And I can use that to put in here and create emails to clients or send those transcripts to clients. So what I would say, if you don't have a note taker and you're recording a meeting, you just upload that recording right into Claude and convert it to notes, and then you can put it in a Gmail, send it to a client. Hope that helps your question. But yeah, you don't need to spend money anymore on well, you do if you want a note taker. But as long as you have a recording device that can record the meeting and give you the downloaded file or the audio transcript, that's all you need to generate pretty much anything you want. And I would use Claude or Gemini for that. So Google Note Take is used for Google Meet, right? Avenues. That's good. That's a good point. Yeah, Google Note Take. It's a Gemini backend on the AI. We've now get all of our transcriptions. We just say Gemini record this and gives me the tasks and the follow-up tasks and who's responsible for them and everything that was discussed on the call. Here's a tip. Anybody in here? Oh, Sarah and Laura are neighbors. I love that. Awesome. I'm glad you're both here today. That's so cool. Here's a tip. Anybody here go to conferences, or if you're at a conference, do you go to like a breakout session, or do you ever go, and I don't mean today because I put all my recordings up, but if you go and you hear somebody speak, or you go to a session, continuing education credits or something like that, use your phone or buy one of those little dictation tools like I think Claude, not to be confused with Claude, Claude with a P. Claude is one that you can wear and you can record audio. So if you're having a conversation with somebody, you just turn it on and you record that conversation, and then you can use that later. You can feed it to the AI and generate a follow-up. I have a good friend of mine in South Carolina, my friend Rich. He actually wears one of those Claudes, and he was like, oh, the next time I go talk to vendor booths about services, or, I'm going to just record all the chats that I do, and then I'll be able to go back and remember who it was and be able to send a follow-up that's very specific to them. I thought, great idea. If you're in a conference, sometimes I'll take out my phone and I'll just hit record and sit there instead of taking notes. And as long as the audio is good in the room, and I'll tell you, these devices are magical. Phones pick up sound really, really well. You can record whatever that speaker is saying, and then you can go back and you can upload that recording right into Claude or Notebook LM, and it will go through it and it will create basically whatever you want from it. Outline, bullet points, top 3 things to do. I did this recently. Speaker Adley Kinsman gave a presentation at the conference that I spoke at in Arkansas a couple weeks ago, and I recorded it. I fed it into Claude, and I said, all right, act as Adley now and coach me through this process of creating hooks for viral video content, right? And I told her what I did, and she laughed first because she's like, that's pretty good. And then we asked her how it came out, and she's like, that's pretty solid. So I was like, I hope it is, because it's coming from her. Anyway, is it legal? I mean, most of the time when you go to conferences, if you're not sure, I would ask. Most of the time when you go to conferences that are being recorded or streamed, there's a recording involved. And if you've paid for a ticket to be there, then yes, because they're letting you screenshot their slides, they're letting you take notes. I wouldn't worry about it, right? As long as you're not stealing their IP, as long as you're not going to take that and turn around and say, look at my framework for doing these things, right? Yeah. And Avani's had a good point. They're recording the messages every day. So yeah, if you're, and that's the other thing, legal to record a conversation with somebody else. I mean, if you're using it for nefarious purposes, shame on you. But if you're using it so that you can send a really nice follow-up email later or remember something for your own personal good, then no harm, no foul, in my opinion. I don't know the legality of it because I'm not a lawyer, but I do believe it's probably okay. Now, if you're taking a recording so that you can trap somebody, and do something, or say they went back on their word or something like that, then I would be careful with that. But a lot of these online videos now, you'll see the recorders are in the room and it's being recorded. So I would say that you're all good there. Amy, can you tell I work with people navigating divorce? Yeah, you're not a private investigator, right? So, if you're doing that to record a confidential session, I would make sure you have all the consent you're supposed to have. I would not be recording 2 people that are going through a divorce and he said, she said, and get into that mess with the recording device and throwing it into AI. Nope, wouldn't do it, wouldn't touch it. So there you go. But great comment. All right, let's go back to this real quick. So what it did is it read through all the project files, okay? And then it got an understanding, and it read a front-end design skill, and it was able to build out a very interactive, right? See that in Claude? It's a completely interactive strategy. Okay, you can click on it and see what it did. So it gave us a revenue target, new offshore accounts, offshore segment growth, a qualification of something there, and a pipeline to build to close the revenue gap. And then it says, here's our 3-phase playbook. So the first 30 days, the second phase, so foundation, pipeline, retention. Outbound sales is days 31 to 60. These are what we're going to do. Oh, that's on days 31 to 60. Outbound sales the first 30 days. This is what we're going to create. Content, case study, email newsletter. Here's the assets you need to build in those first 30 days, right? This is where you turn it over to your marketing team, right, to do this. Or if you are the marketing team, boom, here's what you build, right? And then the next 30 days, you're trying to get 3 proposals done by June 30th. You need this qualification package for this Port Arthur plan, and try to upsell some existing accounts, identify all your gold tier accounts, and reach out to them. And right, so anyway, you've got this strategy, and then here's existing resources that we gave it in the what you already have, right? And some of that we know you already have because it was in the project documents that we had that, right? And then look at this. Top 4 objections and how to kill them. This is great. And then here's some KPIs you can use. We want 75 to 100 prospects by day 14 to get an outbound email. We want to book 10 discovery calls the first 30 days. Right? And then here's the 90-day CMO proposal that we asked it for. And it's all the strategy that we wanted based on the documents. And then my favorite part of this, my favorite part of Claude, and sometimes I say, ask me any clarifying questions. It's a really good statement to say, ask me any clarifying questions. Claude will often ask clarifying questions. So it's saying, do you want me to, it's not even a clarifying question. This is just Claude being like, hey, I want to go one step further for you. Do you want me to draft any of these specific assets that I'm recommending you have by day 30? Yes, please. And then if I go to Opus, let's say the case study, generate the case study as a PDF. I've switched to Opus 4.7 because it does a better job of coding the PDF. It's going to build out a PDF, and it builds it out by code, right? None of us know how to do that. We know how to turn a document and say, save it as a PDF, right? That's as far as we know. It's as far as we should know. Well, Claude has to build a PDF from scratch, and we're going to tell it to do that. While I tell it to do that, I'm going to go through, I've got a few more things to talk about before we wrap up for the day. I want to show you that what Claude is going to do here is it should make it as an artifact. And that's really what I want to show you as an artifact. An artifact is a document, and you can copy the documents and work inside a document. Let's see, Pro Plan. Project instructions, I think, is on the Pro Plan. And then let's see, not writing. See, good, got that. Real source material, iterate. Look at me, just refreshing my notes here. All right. So yeah, so I wanted to go back while it's generating the PDF. I wanted to go back to this right here, what it just created here. Okay, this entire campaign, 90-day outbound sales and marketing campaign that just happened. I don't know why it says 2024. Oh, I do know why it says 2024. A lot of the documents that I uploaded were 2024 sample documents. So that's why I was saying that. Kind of this is where it gets nuts for this. Guys, go back. I don't even have to say 5 years ago. Go back 3 years ago. Go back to your life 3 months ago without using Claude, right? Think about building this strategy and then being able to create the PDF, right? Telling it to build a PDF, which it's going to do in just a couple of minutes. It would have taken, I don't know, at best a full afternoon, at worst months. Right? Like if you had all the information and you turned it into that strategy and you knew what you were doing and you could make that proposal, you could do it fairly quickly. But we had to go to every department and get their key information so that we could formulate this based on all the information gathered. We had to go to HR. We had to go to sales. We had to go to marketing. We had to go to leadership. We had to go to operations, right? To come up with all of that. So, it's writing it while I talk. And I can keep iterating it. We can say, make it more aggressive, less emails, more video, translate it into Spanish, whatever you want to say. And it's just going to do it. Right. So one of the things you can do, and this goes back to it, if you have permission to record, you can drop those recording calls into Claude and have it create the full strategy proposal. I'm going to show you guys some examples of how we use this while it's doing this. I'm going to go to, I just want to show you some ways that we've really used this so I could kind of get those creative juices flowing for you while it's doing the PDF. It's working on it right now. So every week I do a Friday webinar. No secret, you're watching it right now. So if I go to Jay, the AI guy, personal branding. Okay. So this is something I don't often let people in on, right? But I have been building, I build every single workshop I do inside of Claude. Everything. I'm going to show you what I build. Right now, here is my week 18 Claude for Small Business Client Management workshop. We are in it right now. Okay. I had to come in and make some adjustments yesterday for it, which is why it's back up at the top of the list. But you'll see I've already created week 19, which is next Friday. And I'm setting up the assets as of an hour ago for week 20. Okay. So I'm planning out my webinars in advance. And this is what Claude does for me. I just tell it, need to plan for week 18. Talking about Claude, think level 102 for a basic local business owner. Create all regular webinar assets for this one. Now, I can also do this in Cowork. We're not going to talk about Cowork today. Claude's Cowork is something that can do it automatically for me. As long as I have my computer running, it can just do this without me. And I was talking to my team yesterday, and I was like, I think I'm going to get a computer that I can just leave on at the office all the time and run Cowork on it. Okay. There are other tools that can automate. Perplexity has computer, which actually you don't need a computer on all the time for. There's tools like OpenClaw and other tools that you can have running multiple agents on. But Cowork is really good with Claude if you're on the I think you can use it on the $20 Pro plan. Yeah, I'm sure you can. But anyway, this is what it gave me. It created all of these Google Docs. It gave me the Claude Workshop Playbook, the social media copy, the email sequences, the quick start guide content that you got the download to earlier, a graphics design brief for Heather to know kind of how to, what graphics to design, promotional calendar. And I can open up one of these and it opens it up over here. Okay. And the MD, that's a markdown file. That's one that AI can read. Talks about how we promote this and what files go with it. There's even code that goes with it. And we can just open this up right in Google Drive and edit it. All right. It's going to show you. Yeah. Social media copy. Here's our scheduling notes. Right? It just gave me all of this. I didn't have to say, create the playbook. Okay, great. Now what's the social media copy? Okay, great. Now what are the email sequences? Okay, great. No, I just said, create the whole thing. And it did it, gave it to me, gave me everything I needed, what to do, how to do it, how to run the session, the models. And then I made some tweaks to it. One of the things I noticed was some of the pricing stuff was not right. And also, the quick start guide was a little bit off. And so I rebranded it. And then it generated the quick start guide that you guys have right from here. And I was able to just to download the PDF. It created it right here. And that's what you guys have now, built with Claude. And you can just download it as a PDF right from in Claude. All right. Speaking of PDFs, let's go back to our projects. It's still working. Looks like it's almost done. No, I hope it didn't combine the two paragraphs, force break. Yep. So you can see it's actually getting the page, like it's actually going through and coding the whole thing, and it's telling you every once in a while what it's doing. So I'm going to let that go. I'm going to come back over and answer some questions. We're getting ready to wrap up here a little bit. Meg says she's so lost. I'm sorry, then I'm not doing my job. If you have more questions, I would use the resource guide to go through it. If you have documents that you got from a client that you want to use, you would put them into a project. Think of a project like a folder. And then every time you chat with it in that project, it's pulling from those files, right? It's not just pulling from everywhere in the universe. If I just started a new chat with Claude and I wasn't inside of that folder, it's just going to give me everything. But once you go into projects, you can do, you can keep it specific and keep it very organized. Okay. And here we go. Oh, here we go. How can I use this to promote me and my business? Okay. Watch this. I'm going to go to a different project that I have because I have them all organized. I actually have a project called the Board of Advisors project. Okay. It's better yet. No, I might do it here. Let's see. Make sure that I'm giving you guys stuff that I would want you to see. Maybe brand and positioning documentation. Here we go. So how can I use this in my business? Well, here's one that I needed to do. I needed my brand guide because a brand guide is really important to have so that you can stay consistent. How can I use this to promote me and my business? Well, if I know what my brand guide is, I can hand that off to anyone. And I have an entire brand guide generated. So now if I upload this anywhere I want to create content, it knows how to create it using everything I want it to create. Right? Here's another way. Speaking opportunity bios. Authority forward or energetic brand voice, right? Give me a bio, 2-sentence bio. Networking events. Give me a elevator pitch. Pricing tiers and add-on services. Rebuilding my website. Target audience for appointment-based service businesses. Here's another one. Let's go back to Ocean Supply Company and see if our continue. It's still working on the PDF. All right, it's still working on the PDF. Let me go to one of my own. I'm going to show you another way you can use this, Meg. Very, very simply. I need to send an email to Meg, who works with Abolition NC. I would like to offer a training session to their entire organization on how they can use Claude to grow. Now, I did this in my Board of Advisors project. It's in that folder. The Board of Advisors project is really everything about my existing funnel. I actually have it referring to several people that are on my Board of Advisors. And just that fast, Meg, it, yeah. Oh, Avani said she built a board of directors. Right. That's another thing you can do. And you can have it do board meetings and get decisions. Right. But here you go. Just that fast. Hey, Meg. Hope you're doing well. I've been thinking about Abolition NC. Wanted to reach out with something I think is genuinely useful for your whole team. I'd love to offer a complimentary AI training session specifically around using Claude for your organization. Right. This is a good email. And look, knows who I am, knows where to find me. And then I have 2 versions. I can do warm and direct, no fluff, no sales pitch. And here's some value. I could show your team how to use Claude to draft communications, emails, and outreach faster. I just did that, by the way, in real time. Research more efficiently, create content and documents without starting from scratch. We did that today as well. We did research more efficiently today as well. Free up time for the work that actually requires a human, right? It's not about replacing anyone. It's about giving your people better tools so they can focus on your mission. I'd love to offer this as a complimentary session for Abolition NC. Would you be interested in exploring what that would look like? Let me know if you'd be happy to hop on a quick phone call, right? And look at this. Do you have Meg's email address or do you need help tracking it down, right? So Claude will actually go out and try to find you on the web if I ask it to. All right. So just another way you can use it. So if you need to create content, if you need to have it do things for you, right? Claude has co-work, which would be a different topic that we could do on a different day. Claude can do things on a schedule for you while you're sleeping, right? Like that, like what I showed you earlier with the documents that I need created. Instead of me prompting it, I could just say, hey, at 7 a.m. every Monday, create the documents for the next webinar. Or at 9 a.m., send me a notification to tell you what the topic is. And then once I give you the topic, then create the documents. Or I could just give it a schedule. Say, here's the next several weeks, just create them. Claude is going to be great at giving you all of that strategy. How do we move forward? How does Abolition NC find and impact more, find more volunteers and impact more women that are caught up in trafficking, right? That can save as many lives as possible, right? Claude can help you with that, but you have to give it context. And that was really the point I was trying to make. AI is very much a garbage in, garbage out, or I like to say garbage in, hallucination out model, right? So let's see. So you want to make sure you give it the documentation that it needs. Okay. The output is going to be so much better than any other platform, I believe. As a matter of fact, actually Gemini is pretty close. Let me show you guys one last thing, and I'll answer. I see Sarah had a quick question. But I'm going to show you guys something, and then I'll come back and answer some more questions, and we'll wrap up. Let me find a picture or a group of pictures. I don't know if I think I may have shared this once before, but not everybody was on it. But hang out for a second and bear with me so I can pull up these photos. Okay. All right, everybody seeing my screen? I'm going to try to make it a little bit bigger. Okay. Let me see if I can close that side window. Oops, nope, I didn't want to do that. Okay. Yeah, I can't close the side window. This is on Facebook. I put this on my Facebook page. So this is Gemini. Google's Gemini has a search, much like Claude, much like ChatGPT. Now, I like content with Gemini. Gemini creates good content, visual content, really good visual content. Gemini's smart. It's Google, right? Google knows everything. So I asked the same question to Google Gemini, to Claude, and to ChatGPT. This question I gave it: I need to wash my car, and yeah, I spelled it. I didn't even write but it knew what I was saying. And the car wash is 75 yards away. Should I walk or drive? Gemini says you definitely have to drive, because even though it's a very short distance, if you walk to the car wash, your car will still be at home. So unless you're going to carry it there, you need to drive it there so it can actually get washed. But here's what I love about Gemini. And Claude does this a lot too, like I showed you earlier. Would you like me to pull up the weather forecast in Greensboro today to make sure it won't rain right after you wash it? Well, that was thoughtful and considerate. Like, yeah, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe that is a good follow-up, right? But great answer, right? Everybody would be thrilled if AI gave them that answer. Here's Claude. Claude actually got the sense of humor in the joke and said, that's a fun little dilemma. And it gave me a little car emoji. It says if the car wash is only 75 yards away, you could technically walk, but then again, your car isn't with you, which makes the whole car wash thing a bit tricky. Smile, laughing emoji. Drive the car. That's your answer, right? Guys, are you ready? By the way, this is Claude 4.6 Sonnet, the same one that we're using today. This was only on March 10th, so this is 2 months ago. ChatGPT said, walk. 75 yards is only about 225 feet, so driving would probably take almost as much effort as just walking there. You'd also avoid the irony of driving to a car wash that close. Only drive if it's pouring, freezing, or you're carrying a bunch of stuff. I said I need to wash my car. This is ChatGPT 5.4. Now, to be fair, before everybody starts yelling at me, this was ChatGPT 5.4, the thinking model, as of March 10th. In April, ChatGPT released 5.5. And apparently it is better. I have not done the same test in ChatGPT 5.5. It may get it right. It may not still. If it still doesn't, oh my goodness. But this was as of a month ago, and one of the reasons why most of my conversations take place in Claude, especially when it comes to strategy, and Gemini for a lot of my visual stuff. So speaking of Gemini, as we wrap up here, next week, we're going to talk about Gemini. This week was Claude. Next week, we're going to talk about creating images, creating visual content, how we build reusable content, much like we did with Gemini. But we're going to show you how to build certain things that you might want to use for your creative output. All right. So strategy, Claude, creative output, Gemini. Those are my two tools. And Notebook LM is Gemini, right? So we create a lot of content output there as well. Not seeing any other questions. The last thing I'll show you then, if it generated it, let me go back to my Ocean Supply and see if we got our PDF. Yes. So I asked you guys to create a PDF, or I asked Claude to create the PDF for the strategy, the case study, right? It was a 90-day turnaround case study. And here it is. Ocean Supply Company, operational case study, the 90-day turnaround, how information velocity, right? So it put this in. It gave us a multiple page PDF, visuals, headers, footers, documentation, colorful, beautiful, downloadable, everything in here. 5 pages, a PDF in just a few seconds. All right. Let's see. Got a good question here. Oh, you guys aren't seeing that? I'm sorry. Oh gosh. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Here it is. The 90-day turnaround. Here's the PDF it created for me. And it's beautiful. Got everything broken out. It's very clean. Numbers, charts, tables, columns. Very visual, very easy to read. Download it right as a PDF. Open it up in Google Docs. You can add the PDF to your project so that you can now use this PDF as a project document as well. One of my favorite things to do when I get good outputs, I sometimes add them to the project. Now, there was a question that just came in. If you put it into Claude projects, is the information open to the whole internet, or is it protected internal like Notebook LM? Notebook LM is the only thing that's truly internal. You can keep it internal. And I believe it is under privacy. And right here, allow the use of your chats and coding sessions to train and improve Anthropic AI models. I have off. Okay, so it is not going to use my chats to train and improve Anthropic's AI models. And nobody else can see what you build in it if we're not training it with the model, because your chats are private. But you can share your chats with anybody. Where Notebook LM, you can only share the notebooks and what's in the notebooks with people in your organization. Here, you have to actually give permission to share that. So you can share certain chats. You can also, if I go into a chat, you can let me go back into the chat. Oops, that's the wrong one. I get it. Okay. So up here in the upper right corner, I can share this, and I can actually make a public link that anyone can view. If you make the public link, okay, anyone on the web can see it. It is a public link. So there is a chance that it could get scraped by a search engine and pick up that information. Typically, you would just want to create the public link and create the share link so that they can get it, and then they can chat with the tool. But you're only going to send it to that person. Actually, robots might actually be turned off on that. I'd have to check and see. It may not even be able to be scraped from that. So, yeah. And there you go. David said the same thing. You can say that you don't want it to use chats to improve Claude, right? So that was the same thing. What this will do, if you create the link and share the link, they're going to see the chat, but it's not shareable, meaning if what you type from that point forward, the chat belongs to that other person in their window. And then anything you're typing in that same chat, they won't be able to see, and vice versa. So it's not a collaborative team effort unless you're on a team plan, which costs a lot more money. I think it's like $25 a user, and you have to have a minimum of 5 users. There is no work together collaboratively in an under 5 user plan, or I'd be doing that already. I'm on a $100 a month plan with Claude, and if I added team to that, I would have to at least go on, give them $20 to $25 plans. I think it would cost me about $225. So you can share the link to the chat, where Notebook LM, you can't do that unless they're in your organization. You can share the output content, but that's it. But this, that was a really good question. I'm glad that you asked that. I do not, as you see, I do not choose to share it. So, all right, next week, oh, which Notebook LM plan am I on? I have Gemini, I have Google Workspace, but I also have Gemini Ultra, which is going away. It's going to, I think it's just called the new Google Enterprise, or it's not even Enterprise. It's like an AI, I don't remember what they called it. I just got an email the other day that Ultra's going away and my plan is switching to something else, but I'm on Google Workspace. So everybody on my team has a Google Workspace account. So they have their own Gmail, and they can use Google Docs, and we share our storage. It's an organizational Google account. So I do pay. I think I pay about $15 or $16 per user per month to keep everything in the Google organization. And then of course Notebook LM comes with that. But I got the Google Ultra plan so that I could do some of the latest and greatest features in Notebook LM. And that was expensive, but I think that price is going down actually moving forward. So, but that's the Notebook. But Notebook LM is free. Anybody can use Notebook LM if you have a Gmail account, right? You have to have a Gmail account just to get into it. So if you have a Gmail account, you can use it for free. Infographics, Infographics should be in the studio on the free plan. I've not been told otherwise. You should be able to see infographics. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. That could be. That's new information for me. I believe you can create infographics on it, but you might be right, Amy. If you don't see it, I can look into it for you, and check that. You don't see it. Okay. I'll look into it. I'm surprised by that. I was pretty sure that infographics are in there, but maybe not. I can't imagine why. Yeah, we'll have to look into that together. All right, guys, we are wrapping up. We're definitely over. I went an hour and a half again. I thought this was easily going to be a 45-minute job. Then I started talking. Next week, we're going into Gemini. We're going to look at Google Gemini. We're going to have fun. We're going to create images. We're going to create content. I'm going to show you how to make a gem. It's the easiest thing in the world to create, and you guys will love them. Love a Google gem. And I can't wait to see you. I think RC might have a link. There it is. Look at that, right on cue. Next week's webinar has now been posted. Let me go back to full screen. It's in the comments right there. You can register. It's free. 522. Thanks as usual, Avanice. Thank you, Amy, Sarah, everybody that was in here today. David and Meg and Laura. I mean, so many people. I appreciate all of you. We'll be back next Friday, May 22nd. On May 29th, we will be doing probably a kind of another Ask Me Anything type of thing. It's Memorial Day weekend. I do have a topic planned, but I might push back. And I'm thinking on May 29th, before Memorial Day weekend, which will be 2 weeks from today, I'm thinking I might do that one instead of in here in StreamYard where we can just talk through comments. I'm thinking I might do a Google Meet. So I'll let you guys know. We'll send it out via email and we'll promote it that week. I'm thinking we might do a Google Meet just so we can kind of all come together. I know it's a Friday before Memorial Day. Next weekend is Memorial Day weekend? I thought the 29th. Oh, I guess you're right. Is next Friday Memorial Day weekend? I thought it was 2 weeks from now. Dang. All right. All right, guys, keep an eye on your email. Maybe I have to flip that. I could have sworn, but I guess you're right. June 1st is a Monday, isn't it? Oh man, I messed that one up. Yep. Next week. Heather was right too. Heather's writing me backstage. All right, guys, keep an eye on your email. We'll likely won't be doing that Google Meet thing then. We'll probably just do our Gemini one. It'll be recorded and you'll get it because I've already got all the planning done for that. So we'll do Gemini next week. And that's so funny. It is earlier this year, right? I was thinking because the 29th was still May and I wasn't thinking that June 1st was a Monday. Dang. Okay. Anywho, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for coming back. And we will, maybe I'll just do another Google Meet at some other point in the week. I'll just say, hey, anybody want to jump on a Google Meet with me? Or we'll do it the week later or sometime soon. But I do want to do some more interactive ones where we can work together. We just launched our brain dump session. It'll be in June. We'll give you guys more details on that next brain dump session. If you want hands-on implementation for 2 hours with me, working on building your brain in a box in Notebook LM. We had a great one last month in April. So we're going to do another one in June. They're $97 one time, worth every penny. At least that's what the folks on the last one said. And we'll see you guys next week. So much to talk about. Just stay tuned to your emails. If anybody are having a hard time getting emails or seeing the emails from us, let us know. They should be coming to your inbox. You should be getting them every Friday afternoon. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll talk to you next week. And gosh, I can't believe it's Memorial Day already. All right. We'll see you all later.